help your kids avoid that summer slide. It's what my next guest says can happen when they have those extra long breaks from school. They begin to lose some of their academic skill or knowledge. Educational consultant Michelle Loveday says that our brain, it's a muscle, and if we don't use it, we lose it. She's sharing how we can help our kids exercise their brains this summer. It's great to see you.
So good to see
As
you.
we're all catching our breath and gulping for air after the month of May.
Yes.
We can let up a little, but not too much. In fact, you say summer is a break from school, but not learning.
Not at all. When the students are getting a faucet of learning for the traditional learning time in school, that summer break is a good reset, but we still have to prevent what is called the summer slide.
Yeah, I think the older my kids get too, the more I worry about this. It's not just pointing to alphabet and saying letters, but there's an enrichment that needs to come from this learning to help sustain them through those months.
Exactly, and if they don't have that, it is research, and the American Education Journal says that 17 to 35% of what students learn, if they're not practicing and looking through, they lose that academic learning. And then after 5 summers of that, it could be up to 53% of just academic getting behind academically and regression.
That's significant. That's significant.
Huge.
You've got a long list of some fabulous things that I think will not just help parents, but empower parents to dig in on this topic. First, you say, look to your library, your local library, and take on their summer reading challenge.
I think we don't take enough of the free that is offered within the library. Our libraries have programs that started June 1st, and they have initiatives to where if you read so many books, it pays off your overdue library fee. For me, that's awesome. And we have to model that and read with our kids as well. Even our teenagers go to the library. Our Daybreak library, I know, has like some 3D printings and ways to get them engaged at the library. That is really key.
I remember as a child participating in those summer reading programs. I remember Ann M. Martin writing me back when I wrote that author letter at the beginning of the summer. And I know they've gotten more sophisticated and more technology driven and engaging, but it is such a great resource for families.
And each community library has something special. So check it out. They have teen programs. They have ways to get the students engaged and your children just out and around books. Even if it's for an hour, just have that schedule.
That exposure. Likewise, you say summer camps can involve some sort of learning component.
I've seen so many community flyers out now with STEM programs for high schoolers on Saturdays, programs that students can participate in, and we really have to take advantage of it. And it seems at first time consuming. How am I going to get them there? Who's going to pick them up? But when they're there and engaged and off their devices and just socializing with other students, that's key too.
I have to tip my hat to a friend and neighbor who has already organized a little 8- and 9-year-old reading group for the girls on our street. And that's one of your suggestions as well, is that parents can collaborate and hold your own camp or hold your own program.
Hold your own program. We're all home. I know when I left this morning, I said, your downtime is turning off at 11. So when it shuts off, don't respond back to me. And you have to do X, Y, and Z. I was able to put a reading library for our neighborhood where, you know, those houses that you see along the way to get people out and reading. But the one thing is, check out your neighbors. What do the kids like to do? If you have kids that are into bugs or some type of athletic sport thing, have them set up day camps for each other, and then they can go around to their friends' houses and learn how to do different skills. Cooking, even if you're brave enough to have some of the kids in your kitchen. But you had some great segments that talked about just getting out and finding ways to learn from one another. And the best way to do it is with your neighbors. You've been in, it's a long winter that we just had.
Right.
So call a few neighbors and say, hey, what do your kids want to teach our kids? And then we'll do that vice versa. Who plays piano? Who does violin? Who can give some fun lessons? And get out and be together with your neighborhood.
When friends are involved, the
so
fun
much
goes
better.
Yeah, all through
Doesn't
the
end.
roof. Absolutely. You want us to pack books with us wherever we go, so doctor's appointments, the park, whatever.
At any point you have, even if you have those short story books, take an opportunity. I'm reading with my kids right now each night a chapter book, and we're just reading a few sections. We're not trying to get to the whole book by a certain date, but it's just like, hey, before you go to bed, let's read. Take them with you when you go to the park, on the way. There's going to be some waiting depending on a festival that you're going to. Pull out the book and read out loud to each other and just have those moments where they're still developing the vocabulary and comprehension.
I saw once, this is a couple years back, but I remember an 11, 12-year-old girl reading in line at Disneyland.
Oh my gosh.
mean, okay.
And they're so smart. And it's just a beautiful thing to see. You're like, that is the kid I want you hanging out with.
You be friends with her. But I do appreciate, too, your pace, where you said, I'm not pushing him to a deadline. We're not frantically trying to meet some, overachieving
10
benchmark.
books for the summer. No,
Yeah, it's just, let's take it at summer's pace, but let's do it.
Yeah, and there's short stories everywhere that you can find depending on it. And you know, you'll be surprised that as you start to read, my 14-year-old was like, but as we're reading now, there's comments that are coming out about the character of, oh, there's an elephant coming or something that we're talking about. So,
all right, they absorb more than we think.
The time is important spent.
Audiobooks can count.
Audiobooks definitely can count, especially on those trips, as you saw, going to Moab or whatever she was encouraging you to do to go to get dessert. Put in an audiobook to listen, and there's so many podcasts out there that have science things and that you can listen to for 10 minutes. Find something that you can talk about afterwards.
You're encouraging us to make a morning commitment, and there is something about the energy or the momentum of the morning that if we let it go too long, it sort of escapes us.
Absolutely. Don't you feel drained when you get up and you just start scrolling?
Yeah.
Your mind is not ready, so make a morning commitment that you get up, you either go for a walk, you listen to an audiobook at that time, and pull out some math flashcards. Have a competition between each of the kids, even the older ones, to go through those flashcards real fast and just say, hey, the first 30 minutes, I need you while you're eating breakfast to do some handwriting. And people are saying cursive is out of there. Let's just get some calligraphy skills going and just have 30 minutes of just no devices, but some learning. But that can be included in family games too. Have some academic games that you can play, puzzles, strategy games that they can compete in.
What I'm taking away from these research points that you've brought to the table today is sort of the power of the drip. Like that we can drip these throughout our day, we can sprinkle these throughout our summer fun and still accomplish what we hope to accomplish.
Absolutely, and parents are their first educator. So when parents are modeling their reading themselves and putting the phone down the first 30 minutes and doing some type of walking and reading, that's powerful for the family.
Michelle, thank you so much. Where can we find more from you?
You can follow me on Instagram, mloveday consulting, and I'd love to be in touch with you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for the encouragement. We appreciate it.